Welcome back everyone, this is Pineleaf News with another Minecraft tutorial, where today we will be building this lamp that is suitable for placing on top of a lighthouse. This lamp features a rotating light in order to notify everyone to help identification as you usually have in lighthouses. Now, we base this on a hopper design, and that is lighting the lamps all around. Now, I built one of these in my survival multiplayer world, Wellstopia, and I made a couple of adjustments to it based on a video by Zoomavoid. And I'll talk about those adjustments when we get to them. Now, the superstructure that's around this is not what's all that important on here. What's most important is how the whole thing operates on the inside. So therefore, I am going to start this by building the superstructure, and I will be back as soon as I am done. It is now coming along into nighttime, as you can see, and I'm back into nighttime mode on my lamp here, so it should be turning on any moment now, because when it is sunset it'll automatically turn on when it's night. And the moon is coming up, so it should be night soon. That's the entire point of this thing, is that it starts the whole thing. There we go. That's right, it's now nighttime, so that's now activated. Oh, there it is. I was wondering what happened to that one. So now we've got two of them coming along. But of course, it is hard to build at night, so therefore we'll set it daytime, and then they stop. So we're still working on the superstructure, and I should be done with that soon. Now, the idea on this is that this is a framework that's helping to support the lights. As you can see over here, and the layout is the way it is because this is the row, the center row is the one that is being lit by the hoppers that are going around, or I should say by the comparators that are activated by the hoppers. And that will also turn on each of the lamps that are connected to it. So that's the reason why I put it around this way, since this light will turn on when that's on, and any lights there and there would never be turned on, so I just decided to use a block instead. In my survival world, I just used bone blocks for these. Here I'm using iron ones because I think they are less fiddly to deal with, even though they're a lot more expensive in a world without infinite iron or anything like that. Alright, the next stage, of course, are these redstone lamps, and these lamps are very important to the build, and you use redstone lamps because they turn on and off based on the presence of a redstone signal. And there we go. Oh, and I dropped a piece of iron there. Alright, so this is the superstructure I'll be using on this. I can put this around here, and I'll just worry about the one little layer there. But obviously here you notice that I worried about two layers, and there I put a beacon. But that was mainly for decorative purposes, because it certainly doesn't reach very far in my world. And I used a quad beacon because that's symmetrical. If I had an odd number for my width there, then a single beacon would have done well enough. Now that we have our structure built, we can now start with the serious matter, and that is by placing blocks at the bottom layer of lights. You could use just about any block you want, though I would recommend avoiding any block that would be picked up by an Enderman. Once we have this in, we can now place in comparators, and the purpose of the comparators is to light up our lamps. So it's a very important part of this build, right? And there. And you just use the default mode of the comparators, because it'll just be gaining a signal from this side and then spitting out an output there. Now here then, we are going to be placing a dropper, and on top of there we'll place a hopper. And I'll just have to drop down here because, so we'll place a dropper here, a hopper over there, also place a hopper there. Now we are going to be placing hoppers all around, and it is this series of hoppers that is going to activate our comparators and light our lamp. Alright, and we'll go over here, dot, 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 and we'll that one so that we have a full circle over there. So now if I place an item into the we'll put this here. Let's say if we take a piece of iron and place it into our hopper, you can see the light goes around there, and then it stops because the item dropped. The item dropped into this hopper here and then into there. So obviously what we want to do is to prevent that during the nighttime. Now, if we did not have this dropper and hopper here, it would just keep on going around, around, and around forever. If you want a lighthouse that stays on day and night 24/7, then you do not need this dropper and this hopper, and you're done. But I'm making the assumption that you want to be able to have this turn on and off automatically. So therefore we'll continue on to our next step. For our next step, we'll be placing a block below each of these. Another one below there. I'll go 2 out this way. And then we'll stair step down. Exactly what you do is actually going to be dependent on your layout of your surrounding area. I have a raised platform here, and in addition to a raised platform, I've got a set of stairs below it. So in my lighthouse, this is what I'll be doing in order to make sure that everything is set up. Now, we will get ourselves a pair of redstone repeaters, and then we'll just take the redstone out to here and drop a daylight sensor right over here. And now the lights are turned on and it starts moving around, because when I turned on the signal, it locked this hopper so they'll no longer grab stuff above it, and when this first turned on, it pushed the item out of there. Now of course right now it's daytime and we don't want that to be activated in the daytime, so I'll set this to night mode. So now it's locked in there and we should have our block back in there. Good, so now let's set our time. Time set 20,000. It's now nighttime. And it's fully functional. In fact, the 2 behind it also turned on at the same time. And of course, if I go back to time set 0, it'll go around a little bit more. And that's done. As I said earlier, there were a couple of changes I made to my original version of this based on a Hermitcraft video by Zoomavoid. What Zoomavoid did is he placed this hopper below here and this dropper here in order to hold the item during the daytime, while I had a pair of hoppers and a piston system in order to achieve the same result. The reason Zoomavoid's version is better is because mine will cause a hitching on every single rotation of the light, while this one is able to proceed around uninterrupted until it is daytime. Now, Zoomovoid did place his daylight sensor over here so it could see the daylight right here and had absolutely no trouble with that. Unfortunately, that does not work in my particular build because I have the beacon over there. Now, exactly where I place this in my survival world, I don't know yet. That will depend on the exact structure when I get back to my lighthouse and look at it. But you've got the overall design here that you can adapt to your needs. And that is it for today. Until next time, this is Pineleaf Noodles reminding you to build responsibly.